All right, so week 6 of the NFL season is coming to an end. And for the Chicago Bears, they take a embarrassing loss, in my opinion, to the Green Bay Packers. In this video, just like the last recap videos, I'm going to give you all grades for offense, defense, special teams, and play calling. Don't expect a lot of positive grades in this video. With that being said, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video, back at it with another recap video. The Chicago Bears fell at home to the Green Bay Packers 24-14 in embarrassing fashion, and like I said, in my opinion. I'm gonna get starting with the offense. I didn't like what I saw from the offense for a while. Let me give y'all some stats real quick, and just their total stats. So on paper, they had 277 total yards, 137 passing yards, 140 rushing yards, which is key, 21 first downs to the Packers 22, so they kept up in that regard. They had 7 penalties, which I'm going to get to, and they only had 1 turnover, and they gave up 4 sacks. Let's start with the quarterback position. Justin Fields, in my opinion, he played okay. He didn't have the monster game that everybody wanted him to, in the back of every Bears fan's mind, that he didn't have the game that everybody wanted him to, but he played solid enough. He was 16 for 27 with 174 yards. He got a touchdown. He also got an interception, which is what I'm going to get to in a minute. He had a quarterback rating of 75.2. Okay, Justin Fields, obviously, very hyped up rookie. Everybody's excited about him here in Chicago. He played all right. I wouldn't say he played bad. There were some times where he looked a little bit lost. There was an instance where he missed Robinson wide open after a play-action pass. I think it was like a play-action boot pass where he dropped straight back. Robinson was running the streak down the middle, or seam, whatever you want to call it. Wide open, Fields missed him. You can kind of attribute that to the pressure he was facing, because had he cocked back and throw it, he could have got fumbled, he could have got hurt. Overall, it was kind of a iffy play. He took 4 sacks. 2 of those sacks came at the end of the game in very crucial moments. But I'm just saying, the rookie quarterback puts you in a position to win. In the fourth quarter, he was actually kind of clutch. Came in the game. There was one instance where they had a 1st and 20, and he turned that into a touchdown drive. A little sidearm pass to Darnell Mooney. That was the only touchdown he had in the game. I just felt like they could have used him better this game. There wasn't no creativity with him. Like I said in the video, they didn't use his legs. They didn't let him scramble. They just kind of, after that first drive of the game, they just kind of let him sit back there and get beat up a little bit. The interception he had, and this is appalling to me, the interception he had came on a busted play, which should have been a free play. Kenny Clark lined up in the neutral zone and jumped off sides, and they didn't call it. I was irate at the moment. Justin Fields thought he had a free play, which every quarterback should think he should have a free play after a guy jumps off sides. But it didn't turn out that way. Robinson started running down the field because he thought it was a dead play. Fields just chucks it up. It ends in the hands of Darnell Savage. That goes down as the interception. That was a horrible call. That was a key point in the game that's completely shifted the momentum of the game. That was his only interception. Overall, I think he took care of the ball well. I can't really blame Justin for this game, just to be honest. He's a rookie quarterback. He's going to have growing pains. But this game was winnable. And I think if the offense would have did more, they could have won. Let's get to running backs, who was really the star of the show. Khalil Herbert, again, was masterful, in my opinion. He had 19 attempts. He got 97 yards on the ground. He averaged 5.1 yards per carry, which means he was getting 5 yards on every single run. His longest run of the day was 25 yards. My thing is, why would you take a guy out that is gashing this Packers defense? Like I said, the Packers defense is not all that good especially at stopping the run. This kid, Khalil Herbert, he's like a miniature version of David Montgomery. He breaks tackles. He keeps his legs moving. He's very elusive, and he's widely fast for a guy his size. He has a low center of gravity. And the whole game, he was gashing the Packers defense. He was averaging 5 yards per carry. Why do you take a guy that's averaging 5 yards per carry out of the game and stop going to him for the rest of the game, basically? After that first touchdown drive, which he got you there, you scored off the run, got you into the red zone, he scored a touchdown and a very good run. Then after that, the entire game, they didn't go back to him. Basically, the entire game, they didn't go back to him. They went to him in sporadic moments. They went to him in gun. They did not line up under center until like the end of the second quarter, towards halftime, and then the beginning of the third quarter. By that point, the Packers had realized what the Bears were doing. They became predictable, and they couldn't run efficient offense. That being said, still, Khalil Herbert looked good. So why? Keep your running back in the game. He's hot. Let him carry the ball. For Justin Fields, he also had a couple scrambles, which really stood out. Escaped a lot of pressure. He had 6 attempts. He had 43 yards. He averaged 7.2 yards per carry. Moving on to receiving, I was not happy with receiving either. Allen Robinson had 7 targets. He had 4 receptions. He had 53 yards, and he averaged 13.3 yards. Cole Kmet had 5 targets. He had 4 receptions, 49 yards. He averaged 12.3 yards. Darnell Mooney, he had 8 targets. Again, 5 receptions, 45 yards. Khalil Herbert, he had 3 targets, 2 catches, 15 yards. And then the really appalling thing to me is Marquise Goodwin had 1 target, 1 catch for 12 yards. Let me explain something. This team is not built to go just to one guy. This team is built to spread the wealth, spread all the money around, spread the ball around. With that being said, you got to have one guy that's available to do one thing. Darnell Mooney is not a slant receiver. He's not an intermediate receiver. He's a deep receiver. He likes to go down the field. Marquise Goodwin should be down the field always. He should be running seams down the field always. They did not use the receivers right. I did like that Cole Kmet got involved a bit more, but they still didn't use him right the entire game. They didn't use him in the red zone when they should have, when they got there. I'm just saying, for a quarterback with Justin Fields' arm and his accuracy on deep balls, let the receivers run downfield. I still feel like they're chaining the receivers to certain plays. Overall, offense gets a C- in my opinion. Offense was not good. They only put up 14 points. A lot of that is because of play calling, which I'll get to later. But it was just overall, after that first drive of the game for the Bears, offense stalled completely. So C- for the Bears offense. Bears defense, it was a mediocre showing, but it was a good showing at the same time. Aaron Rodgers did not light up the Bears like people thought he was going to do. He was 17 of 23, 195 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had a quarterback rating of 128.0. Now, on paper, that looks good. But if you watch the game, you could tell that the Bears were doing that. They kind of held Aaron Rodgers in check. Usually this man has 300 yards a game against him. But they held him in check until halftime. They were down basically 3 points the entire game. Tackling is a big issue on this team, especially the safety position. Eddie Jackson, I don't know what has happened to Eddie Jackson. He's one of my favorite players. I think he's a really good safety. But he needs to learn when to wrap up and tackle somebody. That is the final play, basically the final play of the game. Devontae Adams is wide open because Jalen Johnson kind of gave up on the play. And I get that, but Eddie, you're not Sean Taylor. You're not Cam Chancellor. You got to wrap up and tackle Devontae Adams. You don't know what could happen at that point. Football is a game of inches. Football is a game of moments. You could tackle him, and then the Packers don't get any points instead of Rodgers running into the end zone. Tayshaun Gibson was not good either. His tackling was bad. There's multiple plays where he got stiff-armed by Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams. The tackling in the secondary is horrible. The secondary in general played all right. As far as the corners, I know Jalen Johnson got beat a couple times at crucial moments, but he's going against arguably one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the league. So I can't really hold that to him. And plus, he's a second-year corner, so what do you expect him to do? Slot corner played good today. Xavier Crawford had a good game. Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks all had sacks today. They all recorded 1 sack. Look, I know people are going to say, why didn't the Bears get more sacks? Why didn't the big money pass rushers come in at the end of the game and get those game-wrecking plays? Let me explain something. To get sacks, it's a concerted effort. Yes, you have to get pressure. You have to win your one-on-one blocks. But you can't do that if somebody is always open. The secondary has to give them time to get to Aaron Rodgers. They did that early in the game, but as the game went on, they kept being on the field and being on the field and being on the field. They couldn't cover as well as they wanted to. So that's the reason why they all had 1 sack. That being said, this defense is still deadly. Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn is one of the best edge rushing duos in the league. Roquan, he had 12 total tackles. He had 6 solo tackles. A pedestrian game for him. Penalties. Look, I don't know what's wrong with Mario Edwards. Mario Edwards is talented. He's really talented and he's really good. But his boneheaded penalties kind of cost us points on a drive that was basically dead for the Packers. Mario, you gotta chill, bro, on unsportsmanlike conducts. You're averaging 3 a game. Every game you're getting these unsportsmanlike conducts. If you want to see the field, you got to stop getting boneheaded penalties. That's just the truth. Other than that, I give defense a B-. Look, I know people are going to say, towards the end of the game, Fields threw that touchdown pass and the defense didn't show up for him. But by that point, they were so tired and exhausted. I mean, what else can you do? And then tackling on top of that was poor, so B- all around. Special teams, I think Jakeem Grant is really good. He's electrifying. When he's receiving punts, you can tell, it's going off in your head, no, don't receive this punt. He catches it, he'll turn it into a 20-yard punt return. His kickoff returns were good today too. He had 3 kickoff returns, 83 yards. He averaged 27.7 yards on return. That's good. He did get hurt, in the middle of the game. I think he rolled his ankle or something. You only seen him twice after that. After that, Artravis Pierce came in and he started taking over kick return duties. Kick returning and special teams is very important because Jakeem was getting the Bears good field position that they didn't take advantage of, but still, you finally have a punt returner that can get you good yards on special teams and start you off in right places on the field. So overall, special teams, I'll give it an A. Cairo Santos, 2 extra points. That's cool. Play calling was absolutely atrocious today. After that first drive for the Bears, I don't know what was going on that sideline, but they stalled completely. That Bears offense stalled completely. I'm just going to say this. At some point, you can switch quarterbacks, you can switch running backs, you can switch receivers, you can switch offensive line like the Bears have done. You can even switch your offensive line coaches. But at some point, the blame has to lie on the head coach. Who is calling these plays? It's so inconsistent with the play calling that 1 minute it looks like Bill Lazor will be calling plays, and then the next minute it will look like Matt Nagy is calling plays. And you can clearly, I don't know what people are seeing. I know what I'm seeing. It's too drastic of a downgrade in certain moments of the game. You can tell who's kind of calling plays in specific moments of the game. For instance, there were instances on drives. There was one drive that completely just made me angry in general. All 3 downs on that specific drive was in Fields and Gunn. That is a nightmare for me to see. Fields and Gunn has not worked like it should. And look, I get it. You're trying to run KC scheme. You're trying to be creative, but unfortunately, the offense doesn't look creative. It's not flowing creative. This team is not meant to be sitting back in gun to get offensive production. This team is built to run the ball up the gut, get your butt under center, and run play action. That lies with the head coach. Who's calling plays? That's my question. Who's going to be calling plays from here on out? Is it going to be Laser or is it going to be Nagy? No more mixing play calling, because there's too many instances where it's just drastically different. Sean Desai, he had an okay game. I think he did his job for the most part. He did his best to try to make up for the Bears' offensive woes. But at the end of the day, I don't know what he's telling Eddie Jackson and these safeties, but he has to be telling them, you need to tackle better. That's just the truth. For offensive play calling, look, I've defended Nagy in the past. I think you're in the NFL for a reason, but at some point, you need to sit down with your team and tell them that, you know what, I'm not doing my job correctly. I'm not putting us in situations to win. That showed today. Why are you in gun 40 times a game? Why are you dropping back your rookie quarterback so he can take a beating, so he can be rattled in the pocket? Mind you, Justin Fields, he's tough. He's gotten hit in the head. He's twisted his knee. Had cracked ribs before. So this kid is tough. But at some point, you need to be able to protect them. That starts with getting under center, running that ball, no matter who's at running back. You have 3 good running backs that you don't use properly. And Damian Williams, Dave Montgomery, and Khalil Herbert. All 3 of those backs are dual threat backs. They can catch, they can run, and some of them can block. Use them correctly. Don't take them out the game and interchange them with one another when one is hot. Don't use them in weird screen plays that never work. Wide receiver screens that never work. Tight end screen. Why are you running tight end screens on second down? You should be under center running that ball. Stop with the gimmick plays and the bad play calling and trying to run a gun happy offense, because that's not what this personnel is for. You have 2 tackles on IR that were brought here to protect Justin Fields. They're not playing, so you need to shape your offense. It needs to be adaptable. You need to adapt to your players you have. Send your receivers downfield. Use your tight ends in the red zone. You can't keep saying this every single week. At some point, people have to see that it's not just the quarterback that's holding this offense back. You switched out every single quarterback that there's basically in the league. Take responsibility, look in the mirror and says, it's me. But overall, play calling, I'm giving it an F. That was atrocious. That's an F. Overall, embarrassing loss for the Bears. They fall to 3-3. I think the Vikings won yesterday too. So they're tied for second in the division. They need to bounce back. I think they're playing Tampa Bay next. So it gets even more difficult. But you know what? You're in the NFL. You got to adapt to your situation and get the win. I'll be doing a prediction video on Wednesday, so look out for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Oh, one more thing. Honorable mention. Then this is a good stat here. Aaron Rodgers only threw the ball past 10 yards 2 times. 2 times. And he still found a way to beat you and went up to your crowd and told you, I own you. You know how insulting that is to come. Aaron Rodgers is the most chill dude that, from what I hear, is that people have met. He's the most zen dude ever. But when he ran into the end zone, he went up to the crowd and got hyped and said, I own you. He didn't even throw the ball past 10 yards twice. That shows the difference between the Bears offense and the Packers offense, because even when they weren't moving the ball downfield or throwing the ball downfield, they still made offense look easy. The Bears make 4-yard hitch routes look hard to gain yards. So overall, it just wasn't a good day for the Bears and their fans. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I will be reading them, obviously. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Make sure you subscribe. Helps me make more content. It lets me know that you guys are watching this content and that you enjoy it. Like the video, share the video on social media, follow me on social media, and I'm out. Peace.